You know what fascinates me? The subtle art of making people genuinely listen. Not just hearing words, but really absorbing what you're saying. I've spent years studying this, and it's like being a conductor of an orchestra, except instead of musicians, you're orchestrating attention. Let me share something counterintuitive: silence is your strongest tool. Think of it like fishing. You don't catch fish by splashing around in the water. You wait, you create space. When you're speaking and pause for 3 seconds, just 3 seconds, people lean in mentally. They can't help it. Our brains are wired to fill gaps. Here's another gem: people listen better when they feel like they're discovering something rather than being told. It's like the difference between someone giving you a map versus helping you build one. Instead of saying you should do this, try I wonder what would happen if. The brain loves puzzles, mysteries, unfinished stories. The magic really happens when you master the art of verbal mirroring. It's like being a social chameleon, but with words. When someone says, "I'm feeling frustrated," don't jump to "you shouldn't feel that way." Instead, echo their emotion: "Frustrated, huh?" It's amazing how this tiny adjustment makes people feel heard and understood. And here's something that took me years to learn: the power of vulnerable expertise. People tend to trust someone who's both knowledgeable and humble enough to admit what they don't know. It's like having a GPS that says, "I'm 90% sure this is the fastest route," instead of just barking orders. That honesty actually makes people more likely to trust your directions. One trick that never fails is what I call the breadcrumb technique. Instead of dumping all your information at once, you leave little hints, little questions that make people hungry for more. It's like those old mystery novels where each chapter ends with a cliffhanger. Your listeners become investigators, actively engaged in following your thought process. The voice itself is crucial too. Think of it like music: it's not just about the notes, but the rhythm, the tempo, the dynamics. Speaking in a slightly lower pitch than your natural voice, just by a touch, automatically commands more attention. It's fascinating how our brains associate lower pitches with authority and credibility. Here's a counterintuitive one: admitting mistakes actually increases your credibility. Most people think they need to appear perfect to be listened to, but it's actually the opposite. It's like a high wire act: showing that you can acknowledge when you wobble makes people trust your balance even more. And timing, timing is everything. The best speakers know how to read the energy in a room like a surfer reads waves. You need to know when to ride the momentum and when to pull back. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Just let your last point sink in. Remember, getting people to listen isn't about dominating the conversation, it's about creating a mental dance where both parties are engaged. Think of it like a game of catch: you need to throw the ball in a way that makes people want to catch it and throw it back. The real secret? Making others feel like they're part of the conversation, even when they're just listening. It's about creating what I call mental participation. Ask rhetorical questions, pause for effect, use phrases like "you know that feeling when." It's like you're weaving a web of shared experience, and everyone feels caught up in it, willingly. I found that mastering these techniques isn't about manipulation, it's about connection. When you genuinely want to engage with others, these methods become natural extensions of your curiosity and respect for your listeners. That's when the real magic happens: when people don't just hear you, but truly listen.